All right, let's get into this now. Okay, this is now where we do see a lot of this in year 11. So this is where you should be focusing and paying attention. I noticed some of you did go ahead, which is good, but just make sure that you understand this properly, okay? Because I think this is where a lot of people actually get lost, and then they lose a little bit of a few marks. Generally, in year 11, you won't get penalized too much for not being able to do this. But in year 12, at the front of every exam that you do, it's going to say all your answers must be to 3 significant figures. Okay? And then that means all of your answers have to be in this form. Okay? And we'll understand what it is. Okay? So, the first word there that you want to really get to be familiarized with is this word significant. Okay? What it just means is important numbers. Okay? 3 important numbers that will represent a certain value. Okay, so what is a important number? Okay, well, an important number, okay, is basically, so here's some rules here. An important number is any number that's not a 0. Okay, let's start off with that. An important number is all numbers that are not 0. So, for example, what are the numbers that are not 0? You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay, they're all not 0. So all these numbers are considered to be important or significant. Okay? That means 0 is not necessarily a significant number. Okay? But there are certain rules to it. Any 0 that's between a significant number is also significant. Okay? What that means is, let's say you have 1, 0, 5, 3, 2. How many significant or important numbers are there here? 5. Good. Okay, because that 0 is in between some important numbers or significant numbers. Okay, so that's something to think about. So any 0 is not significant. So let's say, for example, my number was 1, 2, 7, 6. Okay, how many significant or important numbers are here? 3. Okay, because these zeros are not in between anything. Okay, they're at the end. So the significant numbers here are those, which is 3 sig fig. So you'll see me writing sig fig instead of significant figures. So there's 3 sig figs there. Here you've got 5 sig figs. Okay, because there's 5 significant numbers. Okay, next one here. And these are the 3 main things you need to know. After a decimal point, okay, all the zeros to the right of a non-zero are significant. Okay, this sounds a bit crazy, but this is what we mean by that. Let's say you have 0.32000. Okay, how many significants are in here? Based on this rule, it says any number after any 0 after a decimal point that is to the right, okay, of a non-zeros are significant. So if that's the case, how many significants would there be here? 5. Okay, because any 0 to the right, so if these are the significant numbers, anything to the right of that's a 0, it is a significant. Okay, a little bit complicated, but once we put it to practice, you'll get it. So in this case, you have 5 sig figs. Okay, let's do another really quick one. What about this? 0.00210. Okay, how many significant figures are in here? Good, 3. Only these guys are significant. Okay, why aren't these guys significant? Yeah, they're just placeholders. Okay, they just tell you that these are their 200s or 2000s. 1 10,000, and then there's a 0 there in the end. Okay, so just understand those 3 main rules. Any significant number is non-zero, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Any 0 in between, any 0 in between significant numbers is also significant, and any 0 after the decimal that is to the right of the significant number is significant. Yes.
It says over here, it says 560.0 has 4 significant figures.
Okay, which number are we looking at?
The very last one.
Very last one here. Yep, 560.0. The first 0 is between, okay, because any 0 after that is going to be, yep, so in this case, first zeros between, yeah, so in this case here, this, it's funny because some of the math teachers have debated this. It's really funny. But some people will say that it is, some people say it won't. Okay, but in any case, let's actually do these ones. So then we can try and get to that understanding of how to understand this one here in the bottom. Okay, so let's look at this number here. How many significant figures are there? 5. Obviously because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 5 important numbers. 5,000. Okay, there's only one significant because those zeros are not in between any other numbers, so they're just in the end. 0.0057, there's only 2. Okay, so that 57 there is a significant, although you don't read it as 57. 0.0057. This here, okay, obviously significant because you've got 0.00570 at the end. So any zero after, this is only after the decimal. Any zero after that will be significant. This one here, 8.508, significant because that zero is considered significant because it's in between 5 and 8. Same with this one, 906, okay, significant because it's in between. Okay. Now this one here, okay, I would say because the book does say this is significant, but obviously if you look at this number, it should, you should just represent it as 560 generally. But because they've left that zero there is a purpose as to that. The answer might mean that this was a rounded answer. Okay. So if there is a zero after a decimal point like that, that's been rounded, or if it's just like this, then consider it as significant. But you generally won't really come across a question where you get something like this. But any zero after the decimal that goes like this, that is now considered significant. Okay, because chances are there was probably a number here like that was rounded or something. But yeah, let's leave it at that for now. Also remember that because it is after the decimal, it does become that number, that zero, okay, it does become significant. Only if it's by itself as a zero. If there was like a 7 there, yes.
So what is zero before decimal?
Yeah, because now after the decimal, that zero is considered a significant number, right? They're like, all right, it's important now. So that means this guy also becomes significant. Bit confusing, okay, but I think when you put it to practice, you'll get it, you'll understand it more. But the main idea is, for a significant number, it just wants you to represent the value of this many important numbers. It wants you to round your answer to this many important numbers. Because say, for example, let's say, again, we measured Joseph's handsomeness level, and it was like 7, 6, 5, 3, 2, 1, 4, 0, 0, 0, 0. Okay? Let's say it was that.
That's how many perms he's got.
Okay? Yeah, so many perms he's got. Let's say, all right, that's a lot of numbers. Okay? And I just want to round this to 2 significant figures. Okay? If you look at this value, what are 2 important numbers that you would keep to represent all of this? 2 really important numbers. 7 and 6, just these 2. These are the really 2 important ones. Why wouldn't you keep this? Okay, if I said 2, why wouldn't you keep 14? Because it doesn't represent how much hair, his handsomeness level. The best representation, okay, is the front 2 numbers there. So if I wanted to round this to 2 really important numbers, it'll be the 7 and the 6. But what happens to the 6? Based on this 5, it goes up. So now it becomes 7. And then you've got a bunch of zeros here. These all become insignificant. Yeah, it rounds up. Okay, rounds up. So his handsomeness level increased. Okay, let's try and do these ones as practice. I want to round this number to 2 significant figures. Okay, I think we're just focusing on this number. 2 significant figures, 1 sig fig, and then 5 significant figures. Okay, so there's instructions here on how to do it, but looking at this number here, 93.738.738095. What are the two important numbers to represent this number? 93. Okay, let's start with that, 93. However, look at that 7. So that number after the 3 will make this 3 become a 4. So you're left with just 94 as a significant figure. Okay, that'll be it. Because if you think about it, imagine if your answer was this. That's a lot of numbers to write, isn't it? That's why they tell you to just round it to this many numbers. Okay, you don't want to be writing that all the time. Okay, easy. Next one there is to one significant figure. So if I look at this number, 93 point. Yeah, well, what's the important number here? 9, this guy here. Okay, so if I was to only represent one number, it would just be 9. And then the rest of them become 0. So you're just left with literally 90. Okay, don't leave it as just 9, make it 90. Okay, because if you just left this number, if you tried to represent this with just 2 numbers, you wouldn't just leave it as 9. Okay, you'll have to make it 90. Okay. And see 5 significant figures. So 5 important numbers. Looking at that again, what are the 5 important numbers here? You've got 9, 3, the decimal point, 7, 3, 8. Okay, so 93.738. Okay. So the idea behind this is, look at the amount of significant figures it tells you to round it to, and just focus on that. So if it says 2 significant figures, what are 2 important numbers? 1 significant figure, what is the most important number you want to keep? Okay.